Welcome back. We have the new representative for Framingham serving the 7th Middlesex District with us here today, Jack Patrick Lewis. Representative Lewis is filling the seat vacated by Tom Sannicandro after 12 years. He is serving all of Ashland and a wide section of Framingham that starts around Prospect Street and in the north and all the way south to the Ashland line. Jack Patrick Lewis is an ordained Unitarian Universalist minister, the founding executive director of Out Metro West, and is a Framingham resident. Thanks so much for coming in.
Thank you so much for having me.
So can you tell us about your first day?
Yeah, so we were all just sworn in this last Wednesday, which was a remarkable experience. Anytime I walk into that building, I'm humbled. But to be in that chamber, surrounded by all those other elected officials, sitting in all that history, was a beautiful experience that I was happy to share with my family. The next day, I was in the office. That Thursday morning, we walked in before our temporary office doors were unlocked. Our computers were sitting there, and we spent the better part of the day trying to figure out how our emails worked and how our phones worked. And it was a good first day, probably as productive as any day is going to be for the foreseeable future. But I'm excited. It's now been day 5, day 6, and I'm eager to get to work.
So you have some pretty big shoes to fill with taking Tom Sannicandro's seat. And he had some innovative legislation for people with intellectual disabilities. Are you going to continue what he started? Yes,
so Tom is leaving huge shoes. 12 years serving the residents of Ashland and Framingham as a remarkable public servant. It's going to be a difficult path to follow. I've look forward to continuing to work with Tom in this new phase of his professional life. During the campaign, I called him nearly every day, and I anticipate in the years ahead being in contact with him at least once a week. But when it comes to the issues, Tom and I were on the same page on, I think, everything. Over the last 6 months of the campaign, I tried to find one issue where we weren't on the same page, and I was always unsuccessful. When it comes to intellectual and developmental disabilities, it's something that is close to Tom's heart and has long been close to my heart as well. My first volunteer job was as a camp counselor in a facility for people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. My first paid job was as a habitation assistant in a group home for people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. And it's been something over the last 20, 25 years that's been very important to me as well.
You were the founding executive director of Out Metro West. Can you tell us what happens now?
It's a great question. So Out Metro West provides supportive services and advocacy for LGBTQ teens in the Metro West area. It started about 6.5 years ago out of my work at the Unitarian Church in Wellesley. And the initial idea was just a once-a-month pizza party with maybe 5 or 6 teens from surrounding towns. But over the last 6 years, that organization has served nearly 800 youth, and I've been honored to serve as its executive director. Now it's conducting a search for a new executive director. The organization has never been about me. I've just been somebody who's spent a lot of my time over these last 6 years invested in the organization. But there's a core team, a great board that's going to continue to advocate for these youth, advocate with the youth, and provide supportive programs for them. And I'm very confident that the next executive director will continue this great work and ensure that the youth of Metro West Boston have the services they require.
Well, it's their loss. So you're going to be a full-time legislator?
Yes. So between this and being a parent, that'll be it. I think I really want to make sure that the residents of Framingham and Ashland know that in me they have a full-time rep. And when I'm not doing this, I'm going to try to spend a little bit more time with my family than the campaign allowed.
A fairly large controversy that you're walking into is the sale of recreational marijuana. So there was a delay in the sales, and can you tell us a little bit about what's going on at the State House from your view?
Yes. So on November 8th, the residents of Massachusetts voted on this very question. Throughout the entire campaign, I said that this is a very important issue that I believe should be left up to the voters, and the voters voted. And this actually passed in both Framingham and Ashland in the affirmative. And so I'm of the opinion that the voters have spoken and that we need to make sure that the will of the voters is protected. Can there be some minor tweaks along the way? Yes. But I think it's also important to remember that the legislature had an opportunity to put forth an alternative bill to legalize marijuana and chose not to. And while this bill was imperfect, the legislature chose not to put forth a different bill. And so this is the bill we have, and this is the bill that's law. It is now legal to smoke pot in your private residence. It's legal to have a certain number of plants. And what happened just last month was the legislature voted to delay the sale of recreational marijuana. I remain concerned that we have something that's now legal without a means to procure it. And so I look forward to these conversations. I look forward to both protecting the will of the people while also doing what I've long done in my profession, trying to keep our youth as safe as possible. And I think there is a way to do that, and I look forward to those conversations.
So you are pretty young. How did you end up wanting to get into politics at a young age? And do you see your age as an advantage?
Excellent. I'll start with the second part of the question. So it's interesting. One of the things I did right before coming to this interview was open up my mortgage bill. One of the things I'll have to do after this interview is pick my son up from school. He's 7 years old and goes to Barberry. And so most days I don't feel that young. And when you have a 7-year-old son who thinks you're ancient, this campaign has been a pleasant reminder that I am on the younger end. And being in the State House, I've been quickly reminded that I am in the minority when it comes to the question of age. But my incoming class is also very diverse when it comes to age. I'm actually probably on the older end of my incoming freshman class of 12 reps. But I believe my age brings with it advantages as well. I've worked in the community, I have a family, I own a home, but I'm also connected to some of these issues that we're talking about on a daily basis. My son's on the younger end of elementary school. So over these next 2 years, I'm going to do everything I can to advocate for the communities of Ashland and Framingham while also being the parent of a 7 and an 8-year-old as he grows up. Your first part of the question is what got me involved in politics. I've always been interested. I was just reflecting with my parents recently about their driving me to my first political events when I was very, very young, skipping school to attend political fundraisers that my parents were very supportive of. My parents weren't very involved in politics themselves. My dad was involved in his union, my parents voted, but politics was something that interested me at a young age, wanting to find a conduit to give back to the community. And I always thought that it would be something I do as a volunteer job on the side, be involved in campaigns, helping to run campaigns. Here I am, though, fast forward all those years, recently been elected and eager to get to work to represent my communities.
What issues are you most passionate about, and what committee do you hope to be on to reflect those passions?
One of the things I most enjoyed about the campaign was being able to knock on hundreds and hundreds of doors and have hundreds and hundreds of conversations. I'm very much a generalist at heart. There are a few issues that I'm not passionate about, from increasing the minimum wage to keeping our youth safe to a more equitable funding formula for our schools. And so what I most plan to do is continue those conversations, moving them from the doorway as I interrupt people's dinners to hopefully office hours. But what I want to do is do everything I can to channel the energy of this district, to advocate for all of our community, all of our families. Looking at my background, the one issue that probably impassions me more than any other is youth health and wellness. We were all youth at one time. Many of us have children, and taking care of our youth is something that I think as a society we all have an obligation to do. A previous generation invested in us. If it weren't for previous generations investing in schools, investing in our safety, neither of us would be here right now. And so what I want to make sure I do is channel my energy to making sure that the youth of today have all of the resources they need to survive, but also hopefully thrive.
And how can folks get in contact with you?
Excellent. So my email address is up and running. It's been up and running for a couple days now. So jack.lewis@mahouse.gov is the best way. Shoot me an email, and we will be in touch. We'll be having office hours in the months ahead, and those will be announced in due time.
Great. Thank you so much for coming by.
Thank you for the invitation to be on the show.
And if you'll stay right there, the Framingham Beat will be back in just a minute.